like I said, it happens, and hopefully some kids can learn from it, but just don't get caught.
I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk.
I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Will you say this is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran.
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
Are you a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
Do you have a gallon of milk I can also take home? You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch.
Yeah. Cereal is great.
Yeah.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can before our video guy from the Athletic gets to the hotel, because he's on his way right now. We're going to get some food. But I thought before I did that, I could answer as many questions as I could. So I asked on Twitter. Also, if you're in the chat, I'm going to ask questions there. I'll be glad to answer any of your questions there as well. Oh, the audio's bad. Hold on. Do not worry.
It's got to be way better now. I might have to redo the intro here. Yes? Should be better now. Let me know in the chat if it's better. Okay. So now I'm going to answer your questions. I'm sorry. Okay, good now. Great. Okay. As I was trying to tell you before, I realized I've got my new setup with me, my new Rode setup. So I'm still getting used to it. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can before our video guy at the Athletic gets here. So, I wanted to answer as many questions as possible. Ask me in the chat. I'll get to those. I asked on Twitter, and I've got a ton of responses already. And I'm just going to dive in there. So with, let's see. Let's start with one from at Thunder Chats, a friend of the program. Is Sam about to draft Kobe Buffkin and Kobe Brown and subject us to the tireless corny jokes from opposing team broadcasts again? I mean, would that be the worst thing in the world, Thunder Chats? It would not be the worst thing in the world. Sure, you get the corny jokes, but I think both Kobe Buffkin and Kobe Brown can really play. They got Kobe Brown at 50? Dude, I know that you would be excited. We'd all be excited. So, you know what? If he did that, Sam Presti's a genius, and we're all dancing in the streets if that's happening. So, I hope so, is my answer. I hope that that's the case. Okay. Next question is from at The Real K Chen. Your favorite Thunder draft pick at the moment, favorite Thunder draft pick in hindsight. Let's see. Favorite. Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. In hindsight, I really like the Steven Adams pick. That was one that I hated draft night. If you happened to be one of like 4 people that listened to us back during the 2013 draft, Jay and I did a podcast where we recorded as we watched the draft unfold. We didn't have live capabilities back then, but we just recorded it. And when they took Steve-O, we just turned the podcast off, and I told Jay to go home. So we were not happy about it. In hindsight, it's a great pick, a great player, a player that's still contributing at a high level today. And then in the moment, one that I really loved was Perry Jones. Loved it. Excited about it. Got my basketball imagination just on full tilt. I loved that one. That was great. Not such a great pick in the moment because there was like Draymond Green and Chris Middleton, and even Jay Crowder was right after him. So not a great pick, but I was very excited about that one. At Gabe Howery, Gabe wants to know if Buffkin, Koulibaly, and Lively are all on the board at 12, who would you take? Of course, it's Buffkin. Buffkin boys all the way. At JKMan08, is Mitch's trade value higher or lower? Let's see. Mitch's trade value higher or lower with picks in this year's draft? Feels like adding another later pick is a fail for Micic rather than trade Micic in a second to Dallas for the 10th pick. To be honest, I'd rather keep him for a year. Giving him to a West contender for a bad pick seems so short-sighted. I think we might be overrating how good Micic might be when we're saying things like that. We don't know if he can defend at an NBA level yet. We don't know what kind of NBA player he would be. He's 29. There's not a lot of precedent for a guard that is almost 30 or in his 30s coming and contributing at a super high level from Europe. Now, I know he was MVP in, I think it was 2019 or 21 and has been good, but I don't know that we know that he's going to be some like high level starter. I think that a team like Dallas could really use him, certainly, but I don't think Micic is going to be somebody that we're going to look back at and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did this. If they do indeed trade him, we also just don't know what kind of value he holds to other teams. So I would, instead of, anticipating him being some great player, I think he's a little bit more of an unknown on how he'll contribute at the NBA level, especially defensively. Like, is he someone that could legitimately close games? I don't know the answer to that. Don't know the answer to that at all. Let's see. At Minitree22, you think they make a splash? If make a splash means trade up, I mean, listen, any sort of trade is more unlikely than just picking at 12. So I tend to believe that they will and move on. But you never know. They traded 3 picks to get last year. They could do something similar where they come up with 2 lottery 12 to move up. I still think it's most likely they stay at 12, but I'll be very excited if they do indeed make a splash. At Con Youngberg, what are the chances that Presti picks someone literally out of the blue, like Brandon Pajemski or Omax Prosper? Listen, no one can sit here and think that they know what Sam Presti is going to do. If he took Omax Prosper, I'd be a little surprised just because he's not a playmaker from that position. So I'd be a little surprised about that. Pajemski, also a little surprised just because of like the size and limited athleticism from his position. So those would surprise me a little bit. Let's see. I am going to go to the chat now and try to answer some of these questions. Robert Wood, can Buffkin shoot? Yeah, Buffkin can shoot. What are the odds that we keep and draft for 50? I think pretty high because they can use that player for the additional 2-way spot. Let's see. I was at the Cole Aldridge draft and super happy about it. Same as Perry. Yeah. Alex and I were at his rent house in Norman with Elman watching that one. And yeah, we were all very excited about Cole Aldridge for sure. Fluky says, you loved Teo back then. I did. I'll own that. Let's see. If Micic was in this draft and committed to go to the NBA, what range might he go? Probably in the late teens to 20s-ish is what I would guess. Let's see. Which pick makes you throw up on live TV as promised? I think I would have a little bit of throw up if they took Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think that would be the one. Lawrence Field, sell me on the Thompson twins. I don't believe they'll either will develop a shot after 2 years of OTE shooting coaches. I mean, one, we just don't know about a young man's trajectory like that, but crazy athletic, NBA ready bodies, can defend, can pass. It's hard for me to see them failing with all of those tools. And they have good family, they have good, like, their background is really good, their work ethic is really good. It's just tough to see them failing for all of those reasons. Let's see. Is there a world where we end up with 2 first-round picks from Brian Yates? Yeah, definitely there is. The Thunder. That's the thing with the Thunder, is that they've got so many assets that they could do anything. They really could. And from George Stoya, would you trade Mitchich and a couple picks to move up to get Jarris Walker? I would not do Mitchich and a couple picks to get Jarris Walker, probably. I like Jarris Walker a lot. I think he would fit. I think he'd be really good. I guess it would depend on what the picks are. But I wouldn't give up just a whole ton at him. Let's see. Report just came out the Pacers won't pass on Walker if he makes it there. Yeah, that makes sense for them. Do you believe the smoke of Buff can go higher than 12? I do. I do believe that. I do believe that he's in the mix at 8 for Washington, for sure. Let's see. NBA draft gurus seem split on Cam Whitmore. I've seen him mocked at 4 and dropping to 12. Why the volatility? Truth is, with Cam Whitmore, is that there's a lot of stuff coming out about his workouts and his interviews not going well. And so that's why he has moved down. At Coatran, would you rather draft Evan Mobley or Chet Holmgren if they're in the same draft class? It's a great question. I think I would rather have the idea of Chet because of the shooting. Because I do think he's going to shoot it better than Mobley. I think Mobley probably has a higher ceiling defensively. But the shooting is pretty tantalizing from Chet. Let's see. At Just Junior, are the Wizards the one team that we have a real possibility to trade with? They're one of the possibilities. I think Dallas might be more of a possibility than the Wizards. Because if I'm the Wizards, I'm just staying there and I'm picking either Anthony Black or Kobe Buffkin, and I'm just calling it a day. And I would want Anthony Black. So if Anthony Black is still there, I would just take him. I wouldn't even consider anything else. At least give me one building block in Washington, and then we'll move forward. That's what I would do. Let's see. At Bryson McGowan, sorry. I think Coulibaly fits for the Thunder a different way than we think fit currently. Do you think that he can keep the offense in motion as a ball mover as opposed to on-ball decisions? I don't think so right now. He would be somebody that kind of sits in the corner for the most part and then involves himself through cuts. So not really a decision maker with the ball, but has a ton of potential. I would not be surprised if they took him. Would not be surprised. Are we sure Buffkin isn't Johnny Davis 2.0 from Isaac Taylor? You can never be sure. Anybody who says that they're sure about things in the NBA draft haven't been hurt before by the draft. Because if you're sure, I mean, especially in that range, in like the 7 to 12 range, if you think that you are so sure that one of those players is going to be something, then you have not been hurt by a draft prediction. So I'm not sure. Am I 100% sure? No. Do I really like Kobe Buffkin? Yes. Did I also really like Johnny Davis? Yes. Could I be wrong about both? Maybe. Okay, Hoopsock 69, throwing up with joy. No, not with Hood Scavino, not throwing up with joy. No. Let's see. Who unlocks Chet's strengths from this draft? I think that's irrelevant. I think the guys that are going to unlock Chet's strengths are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. Those are the guys that will unlock that for him. Who would you take? Would you take Jordan Hawkins over Bilal at 12? Probably not. I'd probably take Bilal. Let's see. Yahoo just said Whitmore could slide to 10. Would you like to see him in OKC? I would not like to see him in OKC. The dude doesn't pass the basketball. No, thank you. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if both those things happened. If he slid to 12 and the Thunder took him, I'd be a little surprised. Yes, John Christie, that's the same question. Chance we get the third Jalen Williams. He removed himself from the draft. Would you be comfortable with Presti taking Rupert and Whitehead? It's from Ryan Del Rio. Maybe. I think Rupert has good size and has probably unfairly dropped in a lot of mock drafts for whatever reason. I would not be surprised if it was Rupert at 12. Would not be surprised. And I think that he fits needs for the Thunder on the wing and as a project. And I don't think the shot's completely broken. So Whitehead, yeah, I'd be a little surprised by Whitehead. More surprised than Rupert. Let's see. Let me go back to the Twitter questions. At Brent Blackburn, B Blackburn 35. What percentage chance would you give for Micic to actually play for the Thunder? 37% chance to play for the Thunder. At W Lajara, tell us the most realistic but perfect scenario for OKC if they will draft and keep a player. Drafting Kobe Buffkin. That's the perfect one. Let's see. I think of a card. How many players have fallen on draft night and ended up being better players than you'd expect for the spot they were eventually taken? I can't really think of any. Robert Williams III dropped and has been really good. DeAndre Jordan was one off the top of my head that fell hard on draft night to the second round and turned out to be an all-star level big man. So, those are two that just come to my mind right away that were successful. Let's see. You kind of have to go back a little bit. Mikal Bridges is maybe one who fell a little bit further than people thought he might, but I don't know. That's kind of in the same range that he should have been. Excuse me. It's tough to narrow it down, but it's happened before, certainly where players have fallen and have been good. So the draft is just really hard. It's really, really hard. Let's see. A Sublime 50 Illus 1. Would you mind dropping me Sam Presti's contact info so we can start texting him Jarris picks nonstop between now and the draft? Couldn't do that. At Evans Tanya 86, if we draft Buffkin, what does it mean for Trey? It means that Trey's opportunity is slipping away, is what it means. And it may have already been slipping away last year anyways, but I think that Trey's going to have a really good summer no matter what to make it, because he's even got guys like Aaron Wiggins outplaying him. So I would say Trey's got to have a great summer no matter what, whether they draft a guard or just bring back the current guys, or if they bring in Micic. Like, the competition's not going to stop anytime soon. And so he's got to get a lot better. At GG512, does the pairing of Koulibaly and Micic equal your enthusiasm of Buffkin, Wallace, or Hendricks for this offseason? Yeah, I would be really excited if that was the outcome, as if they came away with Koulibaly and Micic, which is like a player that could play now in Micic, and then this like project wing that could be anything. I think that would be very exciting. Very, very exciting. At Nickel Forward, if you could choose between drafting Chet with the unknown, Zion knowing what will happen during the time you have him at this point, or Evan Mobley knowing what you know, who would you pick? Zion. Yeah, I think I would take Zion, knowing what will happen during the time that you have him up to this point. Well, never mind. I thought this was talking about the future. Nope, not Zion. Definitely not Zion. He hadn't played enough. He's only played he hadn't even played 100 games yet. Or if he has, it hadn't been more than 100, that much more than 100. Probably Evan Mobley just for the health stuff. But I think I'd rather have Chet than Evan Mobley. So Chet. Now I've answered all of them. That's a great question. That's the sign of a great question. At bookout_Jacob, how far does Brandon Miller fall after calling Paul George the GOAT? Oh my gosh. He's such a hornet. He is such a hornet. At B-Man Types, if Mitchich was in this draft and committed to going to the NBA, we've already answered that question. What are the odds that we keep and draft 50? I think they're high because of the two-way player. I've answered that one too. At D-Tally Live, if you were an NBA prospect going to college, what program or coach would you avoid? Interesting question. If I was awesome, I probably wouldn't want to go to Kentucky. If I was pretty good and people thought I had more potential, I would want to go to Kentucky. Just because I think those guys get a little bit of a bump. That's a good question. I think you can get noticed in a lot of programs. I'm not sure that it matters a ton at this point where you go. There's a guy from UCF. There's a guy from Santa Clara that won the lottery last year. I mean, I think you can get noticed in a lot of different programs. But yeah, I wouldn't, if I was the best guy in the class, I just wouldn't want to go to Kentucky or maybe Duke. Let's see. Is Oscar Sheboy a possibility at 50? At Jacob Holland 22? Probably not. Let's see. Oh, the real K Chin said the David Nawaba is gone off of the Fanspo trade tracker thing. Oh, wow, that's great news. And also unfortunate news because it was fun seeing him thrown into fake trades. Let's see. At Shea Gorgeous 2, to be honest, I'd rather have Mitchich than pick 17 in this draft. Okay. I don't know if I agree. I think I might rather have the team-controlled draft pick than someone who's a little bit cheaper. LK Ward 13, if the Thunder were to trade into the 3 to 6 range, which players are you willing to give up and why? So which Thunder players would I be willing to give up and why? That's tough. I mean, I think if you're getting from 3 to 6, I think you have to start talking about Dort. I'm not giving up J-Dub. I'm not giving up Giddey. I'm not giving up Shea, obviously. And also not giving up on Chet. So honestly, anybody else. Anybody else. We want to talk about Isaiah Joe. We want to talk about Trey Mann. We want to talk about Jang. We want to talk about any of those dudes. But are those dudes getting you in that range? No. So that's why it's hard to come up with a trade that makes sense for OKC to trade up that high. It would have to probably be J-Dub. So that is not ideal. Let's see. At Sam_Camula. With reports that the Spurs are trying to get another lottery pick to draft Bilal, what could they offer that would be worth it to the Thunder to trade out of the draft? Would Vassell be on the table in that case? Ooh! I don't think that they would trade Vassell for pick 12. All right. Now it's time to go down the rabbit hole. Because I don't think Vassell is necessarily pushing the button. I think this is a good young player that is going into the final year of his rookie scale contract. He's about to get paid, but I don't know. That may be the deal breaker there. He's only 22. He turns 23 in August, and he shot 38% from 3 on 7 attempts last year. 18 points. Doesn't really matter. The volume stuff is just going to be out of control with that team, but I would do that in a heartbeat. Yes, I would do that. I think that's a guy that would be worth acquiring for sure. I don't think they do that. I don't think San Antonio does that. But if they want to, yeah, Thunder would be pretty awesome next year. Especially if they added Micic and Devin Vassell. Yeah, I'm in on that. Great idea. Hadn't heard that one. Very interesting. Let's see. Other than that, I'm not sure that I would want anything else from the Spurs, though. Just to solidify that answer. Like I wouldn't want Keldon Johnson. No, thanks. Sohan, maybe, but no, I don't think so. I think the Thunder would have found a way to get him last year had he been one of them. So yeah, it's Vassell. It's Vassell. I think Keldon Johnson's kind of a fake shooter. I don't want those guys. I want guys that can really shoot. Let's see. At elbow_jumper, there was a quiet rumble that the Thunder may offer a package including picks plus Poku for Ayton. Do you like this? There's not a quiet rumble about that. There's not. And they're not going to trade for DeAndre Ayton. At Stutzman Logan, no question here. Just want to say your hard work is much appreciated. Have fun at the draft. It's going to be a special night. Thank you, Logan. I appreciate that quite a bit. This is a bucket list item for me. I mean, I got to go walk by Barclays earlier in the day. Got in Brooklyn a few hours ago. It's very surreal to actually be here. Starting this podcast in 2012 when we had 4 people listening to us, and now get to do this for a living is totally surreal. Extremely, extremely grateful for that. Let's see. At Thunder Fan Dan, Cason Wallace. I like him. He's good. At White Sand 823, what, from your perspective, is the Thunder's greatest need? I think the Thunder's greatest need is Shea, Giddey, J-Dub, Chet all being like 25 and older. If they're going to be successful. You have those 4 and the role players around them, and they're all in their prime. That's what they need. As far as like in this draft, what they can fulfill, I think they have so many needs that they can fulfill with this draft. I think they could get another guard. I think they could draft a wing. I think obviously you have a need for a mobile big man in a lot of ways that can play next to Chet and stretch the floor. So they have a lot of needs, a lot of needs that may be fulfilled by the players that are on the roster now, like an Usman Jang could help fulfill that need. But they have a ton of needs, a ton, and that can't and won't be fulfilled just by this one draft pick. So I want to emphasize that like even if let's say they trade for Jarris Walker and he comes to the team, I don't think he's making just a massive impact next season. I think he'll help some, but I also think like his offense is going to hurt them some too. And that they still need to gel. They still need age. Their age is to be closer to their primes for them to like compete at a high level. I mean, Jokic was drafted almost 10 years ago and just won his first title. So it just takes time. Like building an NBA team just takes time. Let's see. At Josh La the Comedy, what's the highest you think the Thunder could realistically trade up if they have a target they love? I think 8 is probably the most realistic. At Supa Saiyan Edie, he gives me a trade. And the trade is the Thunder acquiring Nasir Little in the 3rd pick. This is just unrealistic, my friend. And we got to involve the Celtics getting 12 and giving up Jalen Brown. No, sorry, man. No good. No go. Let's see. Is Kobe Buffkin willing to change his name to Jalen Williams? From Matt M. Bayfield. No, don't do it. I want a Buffkin. I want my kids to wear Buffkin jerseys. At Hippo Dresser, would you rather have Micic and Koulibaly or Kobe Buffkin and Jet Howard? Oh, man. Micic and Koulibaly for sure. Give me 2 potentially good players. Any chance we trade up? J_T_Barry. Yes, there's definitely a chance they trade up. Let's see. Reading some of the same ones. I'll go back to the chat. Real quick. Let's see. A report came out by Jake Fisher suggesting the Magic could put Suggs on the trade block if they draft a guard like Asar or Black. What would you give up to get Suggs on the Thunder? I'd give up a first to get him, not one of like the unprotected Clippers or potentially juicy Rockets picks, but I give up another first to get him if they want Trey Mann. I still believe in Jalen Suggs. Let's see. After that piece that Alex retweeted about Leonard Miller, it makes me want him more. Is 12 too high for him? Not if he's good. Not if he's that good. Then no. This is all relative value that has been assigned to players by these guys that are making these mock drafts, and it makes you think like, oh, that's too rich for him, or that's this, or that's that. No, like that's just not how it works. The NBA teams aren't sitting around like, well, so-and-so's not doing so hot in the mock drafts, we might not want to take him. The Thunder didn't think that when they took J-Dub at 12. It felt like a reach at the time. Now is it a reach? Teams should have been reaching higher or lower. I don't know where they'd be reaching from. Lower? Teams should have reached more. So no. If they think Leonard Miller's that good, no. No. Let's see. What's a fair trade for both OKC and Dallas to swap picks? 12 and 10. I think just taking on Bertan's contract is fair enough. You're basically paying $17 million, really up to $22 million to move back 2 spots, and the Thunder have to take on that money. I think that's totally fell. Halliburton fell. Jason Miller says, yes, Halliburton fell. Good one. Let's see. Would you draft... This is evil, Fluky. Would you draft Bupkin if it meant that Karl Anthony Towns ended up on the Thunder in the next 3 years? No, I would not. I would draft somebody else. Would you be surprised if Brandon Miller fell in the draft? I would be surprised. Yes, definitely. Let's see. Who would you bet on, Victor or Chet, having a longer career? Ooh, that's a good one. Well, it's already not looking too good for Chet in that he's already been injured once in a pretty significant way. So I think you have to go with Wemby, but it's a good question. Let's see. I think I'd rather have Giddey than J-Dub. I think I would too. But it's close. Let's see. Alex Bowlerjack, my good friend. Top 3 would suck if OKC did blank in the 2023 draft. I mean, Hutzkefino is one that I'm already I would not be very excited about Hutzkefino. Nick Smith is next. Keontae George is third. Top 3. There you go. Lawrence Field says, Andrew, go to Roberta's Pizza for me. Okay, I'll check it out. We need a dinner spot for tonight. I'll check it out. Let's see. Any more questions that sound interesting? Jason Miller says that he'll be at the draft tomorrow. Made a mistake in not going last year, and he wants to see Wemby in the draft. Hey, Jason Miller, hit me up. Maybe I can come give you a high five. Let's see. Do you like Chet at plus 700 odds for Rookie of the Year? I don't. I think it's going to be tough for Chet to win Rookie of the Year because he plays on a team with an All-NBA guard and 2 other really good guards and lots of talent on this team. And I think Chet also loves winning. And sometimes if you want to win, you have to sacrifice. So, yeah, I don't like those odds at all. Let me get to some more questions from Twitter. I won't go too much longer, but I've got a ton of questions. I appreciate you guys, as always, delivering with your TQs. I've answered a lot of these already, but yeah. Logan Meyer says stand pat or move up. I think that they stand pat. That would be my guess for sure. Yeah, I think I think that it's going to be interesting. Are you hanging out with Fred tonight? I hope so. Yeah. Let's see. Great Babe says, did Raphael get a media pass finally? He was still waiting at 3 this morning. Or is he going to have to sneak in with the Athletic boys? Raphael Barlow? Raphael Barlow should have a media pass. There's only specific pick him up, though. Okay. The NBA draft is tonight, everybody. I appreciate everybody so much for following along as we break down these prospects and talk about possibilities and project things that we just have no clue about and try to put this puzzle together. I love the draft. I think it's so much fun. I think the speculation around it is fun. I think learning about this new cast of characters that is going to enter the NBA next year. There's a lot of really good basketball players that are going to be in the NBA next year from this draft. Outside of even Wembanyama, and obviously he's going to be an absolute spectacle in the NBA. So I appreciate that. Ethan Tucker says, would you give up Kenrich for 8? Listen, I would. That's a non-starter for both teams, I think. Like, why would the Wizards do that? The Wizards would not do that either. If it was Kenrich and 12 for 8, still, like, you're going to give up? No, he's 28. He's 28. No, he's worth way more to the Thunder than he is to the Wizards. But would I do that? You probably have to do that. You probably have to do that because Kenrich for 8 is a insane trade. That's an insane trade. I think you have to do it. If you found out that was offered and the Thunder said no, I think most Thunder fans would be kind of upset about that. Especially using your brain. If you're just using your heart and not your brain, it hurts a little bit. But if you're using both, you have to know. They're like, Kenrich for the 8th pick. Got to do it. Just have to do it. Okay. Anyways, thankful for you guys for following along. I really want the Thunder to take Kobe Buffkin at 12. I don't know if he will be available. I think he makes sense for this team. That is what I want. I think the Thunder have a level of interest in Bilal Coulibaly. And I think that there's a chance that he's on the Thunder tomorrow too. So those are like my two. If I were to circle 2 guys that they would pick at 12, those would be the 2. And I would feel really good about either one of those to the Thunder. Now that means that they're going to take somebody totally different and not even either one of those guys. And that's how it's going to go because I am always wrong about what they do. Anyways, thankful for you guys. Thankful for the opportunity to cover this team and to have impromptu chats with you guys on YouTube where we get a bunch of people on the chat. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. If you are on YouTube right now, hit the like button for me. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We want to keep this train moving with Down to Dunk. So we'll have another podcast for you guys after the draft, detailing everything that happened. So it'll probably be back here at my hotel late tomorrow night. So tune in for that. Hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday night, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Oh, wait. Don't go anywhere. Did the whole outro and forgot to mention this. Fassler Hall tomorrow. I'm not saying it because it's out of sight, out of mind a little bit for me, but go to Fassler Hall tomorrow if you want a place to watch the draft with friends and people that love the Thunder as much as you do. Because maybe in your life, there's not as many people that love the Thunder as much as you do. And that's because you haven't been to a Down to Dunk event yet. Because when you go to an event like that, you're going to be surrounded by the 500 or 800 or how many other people that come. I know we had way more than that at our draft party last year that love the Thunder just as much or more than you do. And it's a great thing. It is one of the coolest things that we do as a podcast is have these events. So go to Fassler Hall and get yourself a Down to Dunk glass. There aren't very many of them. So get there early. Glass. And take T-shirts. So please get yourself a T-shirt and enjoy your time there. Send me pictures on Twitter of you guys at the draft party together so that I can see the joy on all your faces being together, enjoying your Thunder fandom together. Do that. All right. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.